Crypto. Today it is Burmax and CVO as your hosts. We're going to take a look at a TA Thursday, essentially. The market's been pretty flat. Volume's been low, almost abysmal. We did have a little excitement just a little bit ago with Bitcoin possibly getting a little move underway at the moment. So we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, the DXY, go through the levels to watch, major areas to be concerned with at the moment, and some possible outcomes here as we enter into the weekend, going into tomorrow. So Burmax, if you would like to just kind of fire it up and start off, I'll hand it over to you if you want to start off with maybe Bitcoin.
Sure. Okay, so straight into it. It's start off a really slow day, So what that means is the analysis is pretty similar to how it was yesterday. It's still effectively the same levels you're looking at. And then we had, if I go into the order flow and scroll back in the charts, earlier in the day, we had a huge increase in open interest on positive delta. So we had a huge amount of longs enter the market, and yet they did absolutely nothing with the price. It was pointed out by Danny in the group, and I literally said, well, to be fair, that looks like the lows are going to get taken then, because they've just failed to do anything. And then what did you have? Well, you had just before, well, actually, it's not actually when New York markets open, because you changed your times. But yeah, about a couple hours later, you had a huge wick down. And interestingly, something to note, it only took the lows on Bybit. So if we go and look on the CME, we didn't take the low. If you go and look, right, scroll down to the bottom. If we go and look on, that's also CME, I believe. No, Bybit USDT, we didn't take the low. On Binance, we didn't take the low. No, I don't really have any statistics to track how strong of an SFP it is when you don't take the lows on all the exchanges. However, we did on Bybit, and that's the one that we trade on. Now, I will admit, I did not get to my computer in time for this one. It was in about 3 seconds that it dropped. It wasn't even on that much volume. So it just shows the lack of interest in the market right now.
It was such a funny, it was a funny move too, because I just messaged Max. He's at a different times when he covers overnight, and I was like, man, see, we didn't miss anything overnight. And the second I sent him that message, we get this move.
He messaged me at exactly 1:45, and then 10 to 20 seconds later, we had this drop, and it was back up to where it was within the next 10 seconds. I heard all my alerts going off, and I was sat reading on my sofa. I stood up, put my book down, got to my desk, and I was like, it's straight back where it was. It was really annoying, to be fair. But once you've analyzed, looking at the type of range that you've got going on, once you've taken the low, granted it only did on Bybit, but once you have taken the low, you look to the top of the range. It was annoying because it closed out pretty much right back where it was on the 5-minute chart. So it was a difficult, trade to take if you're going to just trade it for, a couple, $50 or so. So it's difficult, but now we're moving up and we're going towards, the golden pocket from the local high, which is also this month's point of control. So it's an important level to really claim, but it's it offers a short trade in the immediate. Now, if we look at it on the order flow, the move up has been somewhat interesting. So again, similar to what we had earlier in the day, you had a huge increase in open interest and nice positive delta, but it really didn't do anything. And then we've instead moved up on flat and decreasing open interest on really high negative delta, on really high positive delta. So if you look at this, we've had stagnant open interest here, and effectively stagnant open interest there. It's 900K, but the delta in that candle was 3.5 million. So what we can kind of take from this is there's a big chance there's positions changing hands here, and it's not on the long side. So this is shorts effectively building hidden in limit. So it's a big, when I say big short, considering the volume that we've been getting recently, this is someone certainly holding us down. And it's interesting where it is because it is right at the gold pocket and this month's point of control. So yeah, definitely looking to possibly take a short here. Have I seen an entry? No, not yet. You want to see when you've identified its positions changing hands, it's someone building a bigger order. You don't want to jump, you can jump in front of that order, but then there's no confirmation that big order is just going to hold it and he's not going to let it run up higher and fill his position effectively stop you out. Whereas what you can do is as soon as you see strength in the move going against, so this guy building his short start to play his hand and start to then push the price down, and you saw strength, increase in open interest on negative delta, that could be your entry trigger to jump into a short here, given where we are, because it is certainly a setup right now. So certainly be aware of that, where we are. Don't be taking longs here, even though you are somewhat to the lows of the range. We're in resistance right now, so you got to be cautious. Now, if it's claimed, I always say the claim is a much more difficult trade unless you get a perfect market structure, support resistance change. But will we get that? Well, you can't really predict that. But ultimately, the weekly open is then the next target, which is also this month's value area high. And that will again offer another sell up, but it's also very strong resistance. And it has been pretty much since Tuesday. It's been, we've come back and bounced off it twice. So, keep your eyes on that area as well. But longs now, with the wick that we've had on here, I wouldn't really be trading a SFP of this anymore. What I'd really be looking for is come and actually tap that golden pocket and that previous month naked point of control. It's a big area, and that's the support that you really want to hold. I don't do the whole zoom out thing and analysis like Magic does, where I look at it in a higher time frame and pop a harmonic out and this and that. I'm more of the low time frame. I pretty much live there, but I have my levels up. This is where I'd be looking to take a trade. I'm not going to really think about levels beneath it until we get there. I've got them marked, but in the immediate, this is what I'm looking at. When we get there, I can look for something else if it doesn't hold. But yeah, the shorts I'm looking at for now, where we are, I just want to see a sign of strength for us to take a short. Or if it's not, we're not going to get a sign of strength, I'm going to be looking at the weekly open, previous day high, and the month value area high. A couple of things there. It's certainly going to be resistance if we are to break above this, but can't be ignored. Yeah, there's really not much else to say from an order standpoint. It's been super slow, other than these three weird little candles that we've had, which you can see here, this one, that one, and this. There's been almost no volume. Like I've seen some, there you go, 37K, 57K. These are on 5-minute candles. This is awful volume. But it's just the market's just waiting for this news to come out on Friday and next week. It really is in anticipation of what they're going to do, because though we already pretty much know it should be 50, the market's just a bit unsure about it. So not sure about that, but why that is, but we'll see. I said I'd go over Dixie. Now, Dixie failed to really claim this low. So when I say we want a market structure claim, we came up, we got a back test, but it ultimately failed. Now, if we'd have back tested it and gone back up, that is your market structure claim that you'll be looking for. Instead, we're losing it and getting a market structure rejection. So, you've turned this, what was once support, into resistance, tried to claim it, and failed. Now, I will say, looking at this chart from what we've got here, Dixie looks pretty crap right now. The fact that you've failed to reclaim it and are now rejecting. So I would expect downside to Dixie, which could take us to the higher levels, but it's hard to really say there's too much correlation there on these types of things. So that's pretty much all I've got. So short there, short here, long there. Wait for, let me just see if there's no strength in this move yet. It's very minor right now, so I won't really enter on that until it gets a bit bigger. But yeah, I'm pretty much done CVO. There's not really too much to talk about. It's just the same stuff from yesterday, effectively.
Yeah, I know it's getting tough to bring up some new concepts here, but aside from the intraday, short-term moves that most people probably aren't available for, right? So, and if we're being honest, right? So, but in the short term here, right, we did have our members-only market update last night in the Leading Crypto Discord server. One thing that I discussed was the trade off of the daily open here for Ethereum, which was also at the time the new daily VWAP. But realistically, the recipe in my eyes, right, is that we have the opportunity to run this all the way back up to the monthly key level here. Essentially, that would take out all the highs here, for December, basically, even into the end of pretty much the majority of last week as well. And then really have to monitor things as we get there. If we get there, big if on that, right? Still have some groundwork, but in the short term, this was a decent little move here, right? Because with your daily open here, you had your stop loss below the low, which was previous week val, or the actual low itself, which is about a 1% move. I think I actually got 1228, so it was literally at 1% stop loss to the downside. And then, taking profits pretty aggressively, right? So right at the daily level here, that was a 90, almost a 1% move. I probably should take another level of profit here, but I'm going to let it ride a little bit. Granted, this is a really big area that we're at right now. We're at the weekly level, and then this is also the December value area low as well. I'll pull that up in a second. But I'm going to try to push it up, right? So it's already a winning trade no matter what. Stop loss is break even at this point. I'm looking for the weekly open for the next area. And then I'm going to try to run it up to this region, right, if I can get it. Otherwise, 1% move. Obviously, it's not for everyone, but that's a very, very decent trade in the short term. Taking a look at, we were just saying how, you had previous week, right? We were living in this region. Yeah, the highs basically come in right at the value high previous week. So it's interesting to note that those have been left intact. So everybody that's shorting it now, is probably looking for lower, might not be taking profits as they should on the way down. And Max brings this point up, Magic at times as well. But the longer you're in the market, right, like this has been now like a 2-week trade. If anybody's entering perfectly at these regions, even if they entered at this level and then put their stop loss just above, they're in profit and whatever, but if they're not taking it, these are those trades that can instantly turn into losses, right? As we come back up and start taking these highs. So just something to kind of be aware of there. So the previous week is where we basically met the current low at the moment, 1216. For the larger term time frame, I have that higher time frame range that we've been looking at for a while, right? Where 1221 has been a very substantial area that we've been paying attention to. Which is this white line going across right here. So you can see that that's where we basically based off of once again. It's pretty much the line in the sand as far as higher time frame levels below us. Start losing that level, get the rejection, very similar to how we did here, right? We had this untapped daily. We have another one down here, pretty major one I've been on about for quite a while, basically between 1038 down to basically 1,000, let's just call it, but really 1,009 to 1,038. Is a big region I'm looking for, and we can very well do something, similar to just run up, tag this level, knock everybody out, finally get that move down. And this is just totally speculative, right? This is just an idea at the moment. And then from there, get a nice little, a really decent rally for quite a bit, right? And that's just kind of in line with things like, if the DXY is going to push down, break down lower and things like that. So we have to kind of correlate, some of those things together. Not to say that the DXY has to. I mean, we've had some moves down in the DXY and Bitcoin moved down with it. So can't put all your eggs in that basket, but just an idea I'm tinkering with, I suppose, in the mid to longer term window here. But yeah, definitely anticipating this level to be met this monthly, right? So and then taking a look just kind of back on the shorter term time frame, a little bit of confluence with that idea, right? And this is all it is. It's just an idea. Like I said, we've covered the levels at exhaustion. So now it's just, what could happen if we start clearing some areas. And turn off previous week. So current monthly range here comes into play, and you could see similar to how Max was just talking about Bitcoin's December range, Ethereum is pushing right up into the low, right? So it's right at the weekly level as well. So, I mean, like I said, this is probably where I probably should take another take profit. It's not very far away from where I already did, but this is an area where we could get rejected from and just continue on lower, right? You see how this is almost like a perfect channel here. You got a high, lower high, lower high, lower lows coming through. However, if we push into this region, similar to how we were looking at Bitcoin, if you got the major player that's going to allow the price action to move up higher, fill more bids, stop people out before the move lower comes in. You got the EQ of this range, point of control comes in at 1271. And then you got the weekly open, which is still, same for Bitcoin, a really key level to kind of flip and get above here. So if we flip that weekly open, then I think we can challenge into these highs. Whether or not we run it all the way up to the monthly is in question. But coming up, taking these highs, coming back down, I mean, that's just something when we're just trending in a market like this. Thing is, though, is with the news coming next week, seeing sporadic moves like where we just shoot straight up and shoot straight back down, hitting key targets. A lot of people tend to look at things like that if we got something like this as manipulation and things of that nature. And realistically, it's just you get the volatility coiled up and you get a explosive move. You really want to be prepared with the areas that you're looking for. Even today, Max, right, with that drop earlier to below 16.6, even though it was only on Bybit, we were prepared for that level. It just you can't preset for it for the reason that blew straight through it a little bit, so you would have been immediately either stopped out or underwater, and it's just not smart. Could keep going, but it's not a shock to us that the price action got there. Like the price can do whatever it wants, so it's not just manipulation and whales coming through and what have you. So the price action is definitely boring. It's slow. I think people got their guards down. And that tends to be when we see a pretty nice move. So one other thing here is if we're looking at our high time frame regression as well, turn off these. So on the idea here that we get a really decent rally, right? So just say this pushes straight up, claims a weekly open, and we run it to this monthly. Another area just above us, which I think would get people pretty excited, right? If we just completely just ran straight through. Once again, speculative at the moment. But we got the golden pocket up here. And this is from recent high to low. Got some slow trading view action today. Right, so your recent high to low comes into play in this region. And if we got our high time frame regression tool going on, you can see here that, a run back up to the high here would, coincide with that pretty nicely. Then we got the low all the way back down here at our untapped daily, right? So just a little confluence around that. This could very well one of the two of these lines up pretty well with our current channel, if you want to look at it like that, right? So lived above it, living below it. Obviously, like I said, we're holding levels. Another reason actually to take a look at this, so you're coming into your monthly val, you got a weekly level above you, and right now we're possibly coming down and back testing the heart line of our regression. Probably another reason I should take profit right here, right? So at the end of the day, I might have to kick myself for this one in, but yeah, looking to flip this, and then if we do that pretty convincingly, I think we got a chance to run it up to this monthly. And then this is a really good reason of why, you can't just preset for certain things in the sense of like, looking for a short right here or things like that, because you could blow straight through and get, right up to 1450 and then, kind of see a turnaround or whatever we'll have to see the reaction at these levels regardless. But yeah, I mean, these two areas are still very, very, relevant, I guess you could say. So the untapped daily still just can't go over this one enough, right? This would effectively take out all the lows from back to last month. I'm expecting, possibly all the way down to 1009, right? Because that is the 886 that actually comes in and fulfills these wicks right here. And then a little bit past that would effectively take these out as well. So we really don't want to start closing below this region, because then you got, single prints below, and then it's just straight devil's basement at that point. But to get a decent little swing and a move back up for a couple months, that's the recipe in my eyes at the moment. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking for out of ETH. So just really preparing for one of these, if not both of these moves, right? So you could very well get a push up, get everybody excited, do absolutely nothing but make another lower high, come into some major resistance, and then just make our way back down to this untapped daily, come over here, tag $1,001, for example, right? Effectively take out these lows and then actually make a nice run. So yet to be seen across the board. But like I said, just wanted to kind of throw out some ideas here as the price action it's the same, right? So we are where we are. Bitcoin obviously is leading the way here a little bit. The one thing that I actually noticed is that when I saw Bitcoin, push lower this morning, thought I was going to be completely stopped out on ETH, but Ethereum held up pretty well. So that's just interesting sidebar there. But yeah, so tomorrow, right, let's bring Max back up. Just chat a little smack. Is tomorrow what is tomorrow? Is it CPI or PPI?
It's PPI. So it's the producers. It's like looking at the prices for producers, and that's the inflation on
Right.
that. So
you got that, and then the 14th is the Fed meeting. So what is that, Wednesday, I think?
I believe
so. Yeah, and then we've just had almost nothing this whole week. I wouldn't say almost nothing. Like I said, we've had like 6, at least on ETH, we had like a 6% move from Monday to today. And then, yeah, just I would just say just be prepared. We're definitely getting that time frame where something decent should occur here. And some of these areas, if we push up or push down, even just for Ethereum, this is pretty substantial. 8% from where we are here. Tagging this untapped daily is actually a beast, right? So that's 16% move. And if big keywords, if you were to make your way up to these regions and then make the move down, these are big areas. So you kind of want to have that strategy in play. And we'll be coming to you live either way, Monday through Friday, kind of covering these ideas either way. And if you're in the group, obviously we give like I said, the members only market updates, where we go a lot more in detail, bigger picture things as well, and some more ideas Wednesday nights and Sunday nights. So our next one will be obviously Sunday evening, right after the weekly close. But yeah, I think that's about all we got, Max. You got anything else, sir?
No, I'm just looking forward to hopefully some volatility tomorrow. Like you say, the trades have been there, but the days have been slow. That's the way that I'm looking at it. Like the trades are there. If you're not there for the trade, you've missed it, and might as well go do something else for the rest of the day.
Right. That really is what it comes down. Yeah. Set your alerts and
you
do
give
your
them
best.
one trade. You can either be there or you can't. If you're not there, you've missed it. It is what it is. But don't try and fight a trade in this where it's not really doing anything. It's not really giving you a setup. So always wait for a setup. I think that's the important takeaway from this type of price action.
Yeah. Max and I were just talking before this. He is a day trader. Like, this is what he does. His job. He doesn't go to work. He does this day in and day out. And I don't think you've taken a trade all week, right? Just because it just hasn't been.
I took 2 trades at the start of the week, and then
that's right.
And then I've not taken anything because I've not had any chance to get into a setup. The trades have come like really early in the morning for me.
Yeah.
Been a pain in the arse for me. And then the trade that came earlier, that SFP of the low, like I say, I was back on my computer and it had already played out. I was like, God damn. Set alerts there, literally put my book down, got up, sat at the computer, and it must have been 20 to 30 seconds, and it was right back where it was. So, yeah, a bit of an interesting wick. But it's what it is. As long as you do something productive with your time, that's when you're gonna get the benefit from sitting here and trying to trade, I guess.
That's it, man. Yeah, but I'm sure, like I said, I've been saying it all week at this point, but we don't go sideways and do nothing forever. That's obviously always the case. So big move coming, and whether or not you take advantage of that big move, just know that we'll have opportunities like this right after it as well. You always catch a range right after. It's very doubtful that we go right back into an up only bull market. So don't feel like you have to be trading the volatility as it comes in if you're someone that's not available at the time, or if you're just you feel like you can't miss out on this 8% move or whatever. Just be patient with it, and definitely don't get the FOMO. And after every, look at this, the last move here, right? You got to move. Granted, yes, there was some decent upside, but you got a big move up, we ranged. You got a big move down, we ranged. It's every single move. Big move up, range. Big move down, range. Big move down, range. You'll get it. And in the ranges, are going to be the really decent opportunities alone. These are.
And if you look at all of these types of zones, the setups are there. literally when you're like, oh, how could I have gotten? There's always a setup in the perfect spot. Like that's why people say, trade the chart, not the news. Like there is always a setup right before whatever's coming. If you look at any major high, any major low, there's always something in the chart that's telling you. There's always a setup just there showing you, get into this, and then you take. That's why you take all the setups that you can, all the good setups that you see. You're not taking subpar ones that you've kind of just thought of in your head just quickly. You have to be planned thoroughly. Looking at it, do your back testing on these types of things. But then once you've got your setups that you use, even at the highs there, you've got the high at 69K. You've got a golden pocket rejection. Pretty much everywhere there's always a setup, whether it's a swing failure pattern, a gold pocket rejecting from a key level like a daily. There's always a setup there, so just be aware of it, and don't get disheartened and not trade. There will be a setup, and then that setup will be the one that pays you the most, but you've just got to be there and able to take them, I guess.
Words of wisdom from Burmax always gets me pumped. All right, sounds good. Well, we got to go walk our little wieners, and that's a dog joke for anybody. We got Dachshunds. All right, hey Max, always a great update, man. Thanks for always coming on, being with me here. I know it's a little later time frame for you at over in Dubai, but we always appreciate your outlook and insight. And we'll do it again tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Everybody, if you're interested in joining Leading Crypto Discord server, as always, information is down below. We do have a public area. Going to be putting out a month half off special for the remainder of this month, basically blowing out the rest of the year. So do be looking for that. I'll put it in the Discord tonight. And aside from that, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world. And until next time, everybody, cheers.